This is example 1 on page 50 in your white packet. We're on section 2-5. We're using square roots to solve a quadratic equation. We saw a problem like this on page 49 earlier today. It was on, we were comparing Hannah and Enrique's methods for solving. And this method works best when one side of the equation is called a perfect square trinomial, and ideally the other side of the equation is something that you can take the square root of. Okay? Just a reminder on the green part there what a perfect square trinomial looks like. Here are some examples. In blue, as you can see, we have x squared plus 2x plus 1, x squared plus 4x plus 4. The pattern is this C number is always a perfect square. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and so on. The B number has a relationship with the C number. Notice that the relationship between 2 and 1 is half of 2 squared is 1. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. It even works if the B term is negative, still called a perfect square trinomial. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. Here's a summary where we have x squared. It can be plus or minus some number b times x. The third number c is always positive. And to get that c value, it's going to be half of whatever b is squared. To factor these, they look like this. So x plus 1, the quantity squared, would produce this trinomial. X plus 2 squared would produce this trinomial, and so on. Notice that if b is positive, the sign between x and 1 is positive. Positive, positive. In the red ones, when this is negative, this is negative. This is negative, this is negative. In summary, to factor a perfect square trinomial, the quantity is going to be x plus or minus, depending on whether this is plus or minus. Then you take the b over 2, the quantity squared. Okay, let's put that into action with example 1. This is similar to the 2 try-it problems you're going to do for homework. So let's go ahead and factor this. It's going to be, let's check if it's a perfect square trinomial. What's half of 14? 7. What's 7 squared? 49. So this is a perfect square trinomial, and it can factor to x plus 7 squared. We're trying to see when that equals 25. So the next step is to square root both sides. And as I mentioned before, we're hoping that this is a perfect square over here, so we can get x plus 7 equals plus or minus 5. If that's not a perfect square, like if this was a 27, for example, this would just be plus or minus the square root of 27. But I think in the examples you're going to do for homework, yeah, they set you up nicely. You have an 81 here and a 9, so it should work out pretty well. So what we do next is we take x plus 7 and we set it equal to 5. And then we take x plus 7 and we set it equal to negative 5 to get our solutions. Taking away 7 from both sides, we get negative 12 and negative 2 as our 2 solutions to this quadratic. So that means if we check this by plugging negative 2 or negative 12 in for our x values, this equation would equal 25.